Hi everyone, it's Tammy from Frou-frou Studio. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. My company has finally left to go home, and so I'm ready to get back in the craft room. I hope you'll join me. Welcome back. Like I was saying in my opening, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Mine was wonderful. We had company. My sister was in from out of state, and she has now gone back home. We had a great Thanksgiving. We had about 17 people here, so my house was very full, and we had tons of food, way too much food, and so it was just overall a really good Thanksgiving, and I hope yours was the same. So I've been working on Cathy's journal that she won for the 300 subscriber comment, and this is where I have gotten so far. I have got the size of the book laid out, and I've got the pages picked out, and got the cover done, the front and back. And now what I want to do is I've got some vintage images. These are all vintage images that I'm using that I got in an antique store. And I didn't realize that I had so many advertising cards and cutouts from this German scrapbook that were cats until I started going through looking for cats, and I have a ton, so I'm really excited to use them and create something for Cathy that I hope she'll love. So what I want to work on today is I have these were in the scrapbook. They are the originals, and they're just little vintage kitty cat heads. And so I was trying to think of something that I could do with just the heads so they wouldn't look awkward in the journal. So I'm going to make some clusters to use in the journal, either on pages or on tags or something like that. So that's what we're going to work on today, and the first thing I'm going to do is ink these up. I want to get them glued down because they are very fragile, and I don't want any more of them. Like you can see, this little guy has lost the corner of his ear, but it is vintage, and I don't want to take away from that. And so I'm okay with him having just a partial ear. And I hope Cathy is too. I know that she likes vintage things, so I'm hoping that she'll be all right with that. And it won't be so obvious once we get through doing what we're going to do. I'm also going to put, he's got like a little chippy place right there. And I'm just going to kind of rub some vintage photo in there so it doesn't look so white. Okay, then we'll do this little guy. These are as cute as they can be. From what I understand, and I do not know the name of these, what they're called, but I guess they come on like a big sheet, and they're collectible, and you cut them apart and then put them in your scrapbook. Maybe if I have a German follower, they can comment what the German name for it is. But they are just precious, and they're so detailed and delicate. Now this one is different. This one, it looks like, from looking at the back of it, that the person that had the scrapbook cut it off a advertising card, from what I can see on the back. So it's a little bit more sturdy. It's more like a cardstock. So that one's not near as fragile as the other two. Now, what I'm going to use is, because Cathy does like vintage, is I'm going to take this doily. We're going to start with this doily, which reminds me I need to grab a couple more because I only got the one. I wasn't thinking. I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to make this kind of our base for these. And these are going to be a pretty good size, but I'm okay with that because of the look that I'm wanting. I want them to be a little bit bigger. And then I've got some vintage music, which I may not use this whole piece, but I'm going to go ahead and ink it up anyway, just so we have it ready. And then I have, this is, as you can see, a very tattered and worn quilt piece. It was on a quilt that was basically not good for anything but just a cutter quilt. And so I tear pieces off of it to use in different projects because you can see how tattered that is. I love it, and I would never throw this away. I will find something, you know, to do with all of it. Cathy, I hope you like this as well, but it is a really old, and I'm talking the fabric is like so fragile, but that's why I'm going, and this is a piece of the backer. I mean, you can see how thin that is, how much it's been used. And that's why I'm going to back it with this doily. I can never say that right. And this other little bit of paper, I think, just to give it a little bit of but see, this is how fragile it is. I mean, you can just literally rip it. And that's on a seam. I may have to cut that, but it is. And where do my scissors go? I'll use these little ones, or they're around here somewhere. Alright, so I'm going to put that on there. And really the purpose, like I said, of the doily and the paper is just to stabilize the fabric so that it won't totally fall apart. Okay. So I'm going to start with my Fabri-Tac. And actually, I may not even put that piece. We may not need it. And I'm going to glue my music down to this doily. And that's, like I said, just to give the doily a little more thickness. And then I'm going to glue the fabric onto this. I want my stripes to go up and down, I think. Okay, and then I'm going to glue my cat on here. think I want to do that next. I'm pretty sure. Let me think about it here. Yeah. So I'm going to glue him on. Like so. And then this is just a little scrap piece of vintage crocheted lace that is now sticking to my fingers because I have Fabri-Tac on my fingers. And a little piece of crinkled seam ribbon. I'm trying to decide whether I want that under or over. And I'm thinking I just want it under. And what side do I want it on? And where do I want it exactly? I think I want it kind of down here. So I'm going to glue that on. And I'm not worried about gluing it perfectly because I'm going to sew a couple buttons on. And I just got that all over me. Reach for a baby wipe here. Sorry for my reach there. If I don't get that off my fingers, we won't be doing anything else because I'll be spending the whole time trying to get unstuck from everything. Like that. Okay, and then I've got a couple buttons that I'm going to place on here, and I'm actually going to sew those on, and I've just got some thread. It is a craft thread, Eclectic Elements Coats craft thread. It's a thicker thread. It's actually the thread that I use to bind my books, bind my journals. And that glue is helping hold those kind of in place. See what I said? Everything's going to stick to me now. Right, and I'm just going to come through here, and I am not a sewer, people, so this may take an hour just to do this because I'm not going to be able to find where to stick it in here. Alright, let's go through this way first. Give myself a hint. Or not. There we go. And since these are going to be glued, I'm not going to worry about doing these a whole lot of times. I'm probably just going to do one time through each hole because I think that's going to be sufficient. And the only reason I'm even sewing it at all is because I think it gives a better look. Just makes it look more finished. And my intent is for these to just look real rustic and ragged. So I'm not too worried about precision or anything like that. Okay. I'm gonna knot it. And I won't say that I don't know how to sew. I really do know how to. I just hate it with a passion. I used to do a whole lot of cross stitch, but to me that's a different animal than actually sewing clothes or whatever. Just kind of wiggle that around a little bit so I can kind of see all the different layers and everything. And there we go. There's our first one. And I'm going to put you on pause just a minute so that I can grab a couple more doilies because they are not within arm's reach, and I'll be right back. Okay, have two more and we're ready to go on the next one. Alright, so we'll do the other big one and then we'll do the small one. So, let's sync all this. So have you guys started putting up your Christmas stuff yet? I did my main tree yesterday, and then I have a smaller tree that I have, and we have a front living room that is never used, and then we have our TV room, which is where we are all the time. So I put the main tree in the TV room, and then I put a smaller, it's like a 4 foot or something like that, you know, kind of like a tabletop tree in that front room. So I have those done, but that's about all I've gotten done so far. I am a Christmas fanatic, so I have tons of Christmas decorations. Way too many. Alright, so let's start gluing this one together. And the reason that I'm using the Fabri-Tac 3-in-1, actually is what I'm using, is because I am using fabric and I think it just works better than art glitter glue, which is my normal go-to. All right, and this little kitty, facing the other way. I picked out this little kind of purpley color because I thought that has some purple in it, kind of purple right there. Really? This is how it's gonna do me today. Let's see if I can hold that a minute. I hate to get that all over my fingers because then you just stick to everything. Do you guys feel my pain? I'm going to trim this one down a little bit. I love this trim and I'm about out of it. I got it at an antique store in Charleston, South Carolina. And it makes you want to hoard it, but then it's like, why are you hoarding it? Because then you're not using it. You're not making pretty things with it. It's just sitting there, so. Okay, we're going to sew on these buttons now. If I can keep them from sticking to my finger otherwise. For some reason, I have the feeling that I forgot the dolly on that one, but I didn't. The needle through first. I should have done that on the other one. That would have been a whole lot easier, wouldn't it? And it does get a little tough, and you all probably know this because you probably sew in your journals way more than I do, but once you get the glue in there, it is kind of hard to get a needle through it. And for those of you watching that think I'm doing this backwards, I am left-handed. So I'm sure that it looks weird to most of you. Okay, there's number 2. All right, now we're going to do the tiny baby. This is finished photo that I'm using, of course. And these, I tea-dyed those doilies. Just squirted it with some tea out of a squirt bottle. Right, and this one we've got a little pinkish theme going on. Kind of like that. So let's move my needle out of the way. Same way. Put down the paper. This one I am going to put this backer on here because this is like paper thin. And I feel like it needs that extra layer. Get these little fuzzies off. That's our little kitty. And actually, this one might need to go on top. So I'm going to glue these two things down first. Because it is so, the kitty's so small. Okay, let's get our needle and thread. These are all vintage buttons as well. I don't know how old, but they are vintage. They're not like Bakelite or anything like that. Oh, that gets really hard to go through there, through that glue. There we go. I love to create journals where somebody has an idea of what they want. I do custom journals, and I love coming up coming up with something from something that they like or enjoy. Cathy in her comments said she liked kitties and vintage and steampunk. So we're going for vintage kitties. I don't know if I can fit a little bit of steampunk in there or not, but we might. We might do something. And I'm more than happy to do a custom journal if you guys are interested in one. Let's see that phrase. Look how great that phrase. Oh, that's awesome. Of course, all those strings sticking to my glue fingers is not awesome, but all right, I almost think that I would like to put a sentiment on at least this one to finish it out, maybe the others too. I'm going to save these two great pieces of frayed fabric there. Let's see if I pull out my Tim Holtz stuff here. Let's see what I can find. I keep all these on just a ring. I think we may do Stay Curious. That's a cat thing, right? Let's try that on one. I don't have any kitties. I have 3 dogs. I love kitties. The hubby is allergic, so I think I'm gonna put, oh, I'm about to the end of my little stuff here. So I think I had told you guys that I do a charity event for Children's Hospital here, and I did that last week, and we went Friday and looked at everything. It was so beautiful. It's called Fantasy of Trees, and all these donors decorate trees, and then they sell them to raise money for Children's Hospital, our local Children's Hospital. And my company has been decorating there for, I want to say that it's my 13th year, maybe. It's been a long time. But it's just so beautiful to go and see all the trees and everything all festive. And they have lots of rides and things for the kids to do, making Christmas ornaments and that kind of thing. And my grandkids had a ball. All right, I like that. Now, do we want to put one on the other two? Let's see if we find something else that's appropriate. I've got a very busy week this week. I've got my my grandson, his Christmas program is on Thursday. My granddaughter's Christmas program is on Friday. And my other grandson has a basketball game on Saturday. So it's going to be a busy, busy week. This time of year is always so busy. Attitude is everything. Like that. Sorry, I'm just reading these. I've gone silent. Let's see. We may postpone the others till I go through the rest of my sentiments that aren't tumults and see if I find something I like. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'm not going to bore you guys to death while I sit here. And I've got these little snarky ones, and I'm sure that there's one that would be good. But I will go through those and see if I can find one for the others, or we might just leave them how they are. So now... Oops, forgot these. When we get into the inside of the journals, we can either, use them on a page. How cute is that? Or we can use them on a tag, or however we want to use them. I'm going to make this a Midori style binding so that Cathy can take out the signature or add to it or whatever. With her being a journalist on her own, she may want to add to what I did, and that is perfectly fine, and I would expect her to, because I would do that if it was mine. But I've just gone through, this is coffee dyed, paper. You know, there's some tea-dye papers. There's some different size papers. There's some music. Edith Holden, some accounting paper, a ledger paper, some German book page, some more tea-dyed. I'm going to stick a couple of envelopes in there when we get to making our pockets and stuff like that. So that's where we are so far. And like I said, this is the way the cover looks so far. I still have to cover the inside. This is a vintage image. This is scrapbook paper, as well as on the binding is scrapbook paper, and the back is Tim Holtz paper. So I think it's going to be really cute. And Cathy, I hope you like what you see so far. And guys, thanks so much for sticking with me and making our little clusters here. I think they're going to be adorable on the inside. And we'll be back next time to work on it some more. And I've got a couple other projects that I want to work on as well. And thank you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you have, thank you very much. And thanks for the love in my shop lately. I'm about to get off here and go pack up an order so that I can get it out tomorrow. And everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.